whatever it is that we're searching for in life, if we don't find it around us, start looking for it within us, and you'll certainly find it.
This podcast encourages and empowers you to create your own unique real story, develop your own unique real statement, and discover your own unique real self. The power is yours. Good morning, Rafi Chowdhury. Previously, episode 738 of the 12-Minute Convos podcast. It's been just 2 years, 11 months, 18 days, 5 hours, and 30 minutes since we last recorded that conversation.
It's a very short amount of time, and you have to really make most out of it. And not everything is worth chasing after, at least I have learned. So figure out the things that you can realistically achieve that's going to give you the most satisfaction, and then spend the rest of your time building lifelong relationships around the people that matter the most to you.
That was then. This is now. Rafi, how are you doing today?
Basically just been focusing on work and, taking it easy, raising some homing pigeons, playing basketball here and there. Pretty normal.
I remember when we spoke, you were raising mutts, right? So you were playing with sparrows and raising mutts. That was one of your earliest childhood memory while being in Bangladesh, right? Do you think it's all connected? Like you still being connected to having pets around you?
Yeah, definitely I would say so. It's connected, but I raise homing pigeons in Bangladesh also.
Wow, I didn't know that.
So it is connected in that sense.
Wow. So you're always coming back to the roots. So what's going on with everything that you were pushing on? Like, I mean, there was the startup, right? And of course, there's RafiChowdhury.com, the marketing aspect. What's up with those things?
Those things are still good, still running. Business-wise, focusing mostly on being a advertiser, less of a digital marketing agency now. The two websites that I've pretty much had are still there. Grew a lot audience-wise. I think they're getting roughly about 50 to 60,000 visitors a month right now, which is pretty good. And from there, I mean, just focusing much more on like selling ad space and selling sponsored content. And the rest of the time, just focusing on just creating really good content. That's really what's attracting the users nowadays. Google is obviously much more sophisticated than it was even 5, 6, 7 years ago. So the SEO tactics that we've used in the previous years don't work as well, but just creating really good content, providing value to people is working. So that's how I've been growing the websites.
So you're in Tennessee now or you're in LA right now?
Tennessee.
All right. So how's that? How's the move from, because LA is really fast and Tennessee is a bit slower, right?
I think from the business standpoint, I mean, Tennessee doesn't make as much sense as Los Angeles for me right now. But if I look at life holistically, I think it's a lot easier here. I mean, for me, I've enjoyed it. I've taken a step back and kind of been coasting a little bit more than I did in the previous years. And it's actually been working pretty well.
What caused that? It seemed as though there's been like a reflection. It seems as though there was like a transitional period that created this specific decision. What was it?
Looking at life more holistically. I was pursuing, strictly career at that point, I would say. But now I'm considering, other things in life as well. A little bit more, proximity to family, living conditions. I have a full house here. I have some backyard, front yard. I didn't have much of that in LA. Mostly, I would say if I were to boil it down, it would just be family and just I really wasn't a big city person. Just never was my thing. And I realized that pretty quickly once I got to Los Angeles. So just coming back to the small town USA.
Now, you were an advisor to British young Asian entrepreneurs. Are you still doing that?
No, I'm not actively involved with them anymore.
And what about chess? Are you still playing chess?
Yep, I'm still playing chess. Not playing competitive chess these days, but every now and then I would hop online and play a few games just for fun and casually, and it's usually against friends. So yeah, chess is definitely still a part of my life.
Well, it's really amazing that you've decided to reflect on values. And I find that it's very, very amazing. Because if I'm not mistaken, you're what, like just over 25?
27.
Oh, there we go. So, I mean, for a guy your age, it's not something that really happens a lot, right? Or am I wrong or inaccurate? Or are there peers your age that are looking to connect to family and have people around you, and live a slower pace life?
I think there are, but I think the biggest thing for me has been taming that ambitious side to some degree. I do believe some younger people, we have this idea that if we could just do this, if we could just get to this city to meet this person, to get this job, to get this lifestyle, to get that car, we would be happy. And I, to some degree, I was chasing that for some time as well. But ultimately, I've come to realize that ultimately, sometimes it can be very hard to change our external circumstances. It's a lot easier to change within first
Hmm.
and then try to change the externals. So I started inwards and I started reflecting and thinking about what are my true desires? What is my purpose? Why am I here and what am I doing what I'm doing? And once I started giving that some more thought, a lot of answers started happening and coming to me. And more than anything else, I started changing my thought patterns. I started thinking about what I'm thinking about. And as a result, over time, as I changed my habits, I've changed my identity of who I am and why I do what I do. And because of those reasons, I think a lot of my motivations and desires have also changed, which is how I was able to look at life a lot more holistically. And I'm glad that I had this realization maybe a little bit earlier than some other people, in my line of work. And it's made me a much more satisfied and happier person overall.
Congratulations on that. I think it's something to be very proud of. Without going the speed that you went, right, without accomplishing the goals that you accomplished, you would not have been able to say, I did that and now I'm choosing this and following through with this. And I think it's a grand opportunity to share with others because within the space of what happens online, there's a ton of depression that goes on. And individuals need to hear from someone like you, Rafi, about the process that you've gone through and the decision you've made. And you're still living, right? Because it feels as though if you don't do it, you'll die, right?
Yeah.
But you're still living and you're not just surviving, you're actually growing. Would you say that's accurate?
Yeah, definitely so. Faith for me has been a huge part of the last several years. I've taken up, my faith a lot more seriously, and as a result, a lot of these realizations have been made much more clear to me. But I was sitting in a training class with Kroger one time, and the class was actually on like different rules and regulations related to the food industry, but I was distracted, and so I was looking at a poster behind the speaker, and it said that happiness is kind of like a butterfly. The more you chase it, the harder it is to catch it. But when you stop chasing it and you focus on the things that matter to you the most, it flies and comes and sits softly on your shoulder. And it's probably one of the best little quotes like that I've ever seen. And it's so true. If you think about it, the more we keep chasing it, the more we keep chasing it, the further it seems. As soon as we get one thing or accomplish one thing, we feel like we need to do this and this, and it stresses us out. But if we take the approach that doesn't matter what our external circumstances are, we're still gonna not let that affect our internal perception of reality. I think it does become a lot easier to be content, whatever the circumstances might be. Whether we achieve goals or we don't achieve goals, we're still satisfied. We live an overall holistic, more meaningful life, I think.
That's beautiful. I love as well that your earliest childhood memory was you chasing after moth, right? And
Yeah, that's true,
capturing it.
actually. You're right.
Yeah. And you definitely knew that that quote was true, right? That, yeah, this is true. Because, I've seen individuals who've taken the bottle to capture the butterfly or the moth, and it's really allowing it to come into the bottle is the easier process than attempting to run after and just, snap it up.
Yeah.
So it's really beautiful how those things connected. So, I mean, congratulations on that. There's a conversation we open up, which is the conversation of the possibility of death. Have you been reflecting on that? And if so, how do you handle that type of conversation that it may be possible that you could die today or tomorrow?
Definitely, I've contemplated on that. And I think as of right now, to our understanding, it's a certain. But, again, faith reassures me that that's not something for me to be worried about. You know, I believe that according to my faith, it says, even though we're dying on the outside, we're being renewed day by day on the inside. So we look not to the things which are seen, but to the things which are unseen, because the things that are seen are transient or temporary, but the things that are unseen are eternal. So I know that I'm being prepared for something much greater than what I could ever imagine. So why would I worry? I believe that we don't need to worry about all the things that are happening around us right now because we are protected by our creator in that sense, and that not to worry about tomorrow, because tomorrow has enough troubles of its own. Just focus on today.
Love it. Well, my friend, I cannot say how happy I am that I reconnected with you to hear how your journey has evolved. Congratulations, my friend, on discovering your own unique real self. I think it's a very important aspect of life, an important stage of life. In closing, Rafi, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
Yeah, I would say just, if there was any one 10-second thing I would share with the world, what I would say is whatever it is that we're searching for in life, if we don't find it around us, start looking for it within us, and you'll certainly find it.
Amazing audience again, Rafi Chowdhury. Rafi, my friend, a pleasure, a treasure. Thank you for being on what is inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. This podcast is produced by Pod Edits. Visit podedits.com for professional podcast publishing.